Hello, welcome again to our tutorial on open channel flow. Our question read, a rectangular canal has a bed slope of 8 centimeters per kilometer and a bed width of 100 meters. If at a depth of 6 meters, the canal carries a discharge of 860 cubic meters per second at uniform flow, find the roughness coefficient N, Chezy's coefficient C, and the coefficient of friction F. Also find the average shear stress on the bed. Now, from this question, we have to identify the data which is given. Now, the bed slope of 8 centimeters per kilometer, we denote it by S subscript 0, S naught. Now, 8 centimeters per kilometer is same as writing 8 centimeters divided by 1 kilometer, which is 100,000 centimeters. That's why we come up with 8 times 10 power negative 5. Then bed width, we give it B, which is 100 meters. The depth, we use Y to denote depth, which is 6 meters. Discharge, we use Q, which is 860 cubic meter per second. Now, what we need to find is Manning's roughness N is missing, Chezy's coefficient C is missing, the friction factor F, and lastly, the stress, shear stress on the bed is given by tau naught. So we'll sketch the diagram to show the channel. This is the channel. This is our width, then this is our depth. So we will start by calculating the area. Remember, area, we know area is given by width times height, which is 100 by 6, 600 cubic meter. Then we go to weighted perimeter P. Weighted perimeter P, we mean the parts of the channel which are in contact with water. Now look here, we have this depth here, then we have the breadth, then we have this depth. That's why the formula is B, which is a width plus 2y, which means this component and this component. So it will be given by 100 plus 2y, which is 2 times 6, 112 meter. Now we have what you call hydraulic radius given by RH is given by the area divided by weighted perimeter, which is 600 we divide by 112, we get 5.357 meter. Remember, area is meter square, weighted perimeter is meter, so the result will be meter. Then from the equation of continuity, we know that Q is given by AV, which means V is given by Q divided by A. Now, when you make V the subject of the formula, V becomes Q over A, which is 860. We have been given, we divide by 600, the area we calculated, giving us 1.533 meters per second. But now we know from the formulas that velocity can also be given by 1 over Manning's coefficient multiplied by hydraulic radius power 2 over 3 multiplied by bed slope power a half. So, which is 1.433 is equivalent to 1 over n Manning's, which you don't know. Hydraulic radius we calculated is 5.357 power 2 over 3. Then we multiply by bed slope, which is 8 times 10 power negative 5, all that power a half. So when you compute with your calculator and make n the subject, you find that Manning roughness coefficient n is equal to 0.0191. Now, another way to compute V is like we can also use a formula. Velocity is equivalent to Chezy coefficient C square root of bed slope multiplied by hydraulic radius. This implies our velocity is 1.433 is equivalent to C square root of bed slope is 8 times 10 power negative 5, and our hydraulic radius is 5.357. So computing, you find that the value of C will be equivalent to 69.22 square root of meter per second, or we can say 69.22 meter per a half, then per second. Then now, after getting the Chezy coefficient, we know that we have a relationship whereby the Chezy coefficient C is equivalent to 8g over friction factor, all that square root. And we know that now this can mean that if I square each term, I find like C squared is equivalent to 8g over F. So if F becomes the subject, if we make F the subject, it will be F is equivalent to 8g over C squared. 8 we know is a constant times g is 9.81 meter per second square. The gravitational field strength divided by the value of C, we got it as 69.22. So you find that the value of friction factor F is 0.016. Then now we go to average shear stress on the bed. Now we know that stress is equivalent to, stress is pressure. Pressure is given by gamma H. Now our gamma here, our H now here is like we use hydraulic radius. So shear stress on the bed is given by gamma, unit weight of water, multiplied by hydraulic radius, multiplied by the bed slope. Now, unit weight of water, we know that it is 9,810 Newton per cubic meter. How do we get it? Just unit weight of water, gamma is equivalent to density of water times gravitational field strength, which is 1,000 times 9.81. So we multiply by hydraulic radius, which we calculated 5.357. We multiply by our bed slope, which were given as 8 times 10 power negative 5. So you find like the value of the shear stress on the bed will be 4.20 Newton per square meter. Thank you. Any question, you can drop it in the comment section. I will answer you.